A lovely evening to you. It's just gone 8 p.m. and you're watching the main news. My name is Zain Jamu. Good evening, Joyce.
Good evening to you, Zain, and a very good evening to our viewers. My name is Joyce Mabika. Susan Masona is on sign language. Later on, Dora Ngube will join us from our Montrose studios in Bulawayo. The headlines.
Zimbabwe receives strategic military equipment from the government of China.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa has commended the strong bilateral relations between the two countries.
More than 100 elephants died due to drought in Hwange.
In business, our government urges youths to repay loans accessed through Empower Bank.
And now for the news in detail. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has commended the existing bilateral relations between Zimbabwe and China, describing the Asian giant as a consistent friend. He was speaking after receiving an assortment of strategic military equipment from the government of China in Harare this Wednesday.
Relations between Zimbabwe and China predates the country's independence, as the Asian economic giant provided support in the fight against British colonial rule through training and military aid starting in the 1960s. Zimbabwe also provided military support to fellow African countries through peacekeeping and peace enforcing efforts in Somalia, Mozambique and DRC. This Wednesday saw the Chinese government handing over an assortment of other equipment to Zimbabwe, putting the Southern African nation at a good standing to respond to the growing peace and security threats posed by, among other groups, the Islamic insurgencies. Speaking at the handover ceremony at Inkomo Barracks in Harare this Wednesday, President Emmerson Mnangagwa commended the strong bilateral relations existing between the two countries.
This gift of an assortment of strategic military equipment is testimony of the strong fraternal relations between Zimbabwe and the People's Republic of China under our present framework of comprehensive strategic partnership. It is indeed pleasing that the enduring relations between our two countries continue to deepen and grow, including in the strategic area of military cooperation.
The head of state also paid tribute to China for being a consistent friend of Zimbabwe, and more importantly, as the country battles the illegal sanctions imposed on the country by the United States and its Western allies.
The additional dispatch of a training team of experts to train military personnel is most welcome and complements my government's multi-pronged program to capacitate our military to be more responsive to both traditional and contemporary security threats. Zimbabwe equally acknowledges and congratulates the ongoing efforts being made by the People's Republic of China under the leadership of my dear brother, His Excellency President Xi Jinping, towards promoting world peace and safeguarding international law, fairness and justice as enshrined in the United Nations Charter. Our country will continue to support all efforts to strengthen multilateralism and dialogue in global peace initiatives. We strongly oppose all forms of double standards, hegemonic tendencies, and the undue interference in the internal affairs of sovereign states by some powers.
Zimbabwe's foreign policy is pacific and best pronounced in the mantra, a friend to all and enemy to none. Chinese ambassador to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Zhou Ding, noted the gesture is testimony to the strong bilateral ties between the two countries.
The PLA expert teams have been sent to Zimbabwe Staff College every year since 2004, and to Zimbabwe National Defense University every year since 2012. Military academies in China have also trained more than several thousand military personnel for Zimbabwe Defense Forces. Only in 2023, China has provided training opportunities for close to 100 military students from ZDF.
The handover ceremony was attended by Minister of Defense Honorable Opamchinguri Kashiri, Commander Zimbabwe Defense Forces General Philip Valerio Siwanda, and other senior government officials. Some of the equipment donated include ambulances, minibuses, mobile water purifiers, boats, mobile kitchens, and personnel carriers. Bruce Chawanda, ZBC News, Darrendale.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa says Zimbabwe is a God-fearing nation which acknowledges with gratitude the milestones that continue to be recorded in various sectors of the economy. He was addressing leaders from various church denominations who converged for the National Day of Prayer at State House in Harare this Wednesday.
The Presidential National Day of Prayer saw the church leaders joining President Mnangagwa and several senior government officials in prayer for Zimbabwe as the year comes to an end. With his message centered on scripture from the Bible, President Mnangagwa noted that Zimbabwe remains dependent and anchored on prayer, adding the nation is grateful for the milestones achieved in various economic sectors.
We, as a God-fearing nation, we acknowledge with gratitude the milestones our nation continues to record. With hearts of thanksgiving, we make our requests standing on the word of God in Philippians chapter 4, verse 5 and 7, and humbly ask Almighty God to pour out his blessings upon our motherland, Zimbabwe. Further, on this important day we have chosen, we take heed to the word of God in Psalms 127, verse 1, that reminds us that, and I quote, "Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keep the city, the watchman remains awake, but in vain." End of quote.
As the head of state acknowledged the hard work of Zimbabweans, he noted the need to put more effort to increase production in both rural and urban areas.
The task that lies ahead is for us all to consolidate these gains. Both our rural and urban communities must be urged to work harder in their respective areas for increased production and productivity. According to Psalms 90, verse 17, the Lord our God will establish the work of our hands. I commend the resilience and hard work of our people, the private sector, and other stakeholders. Our nation is testimony that in every circumstance, when facing plenty or lack, abundance or need, we can do all things through Jesus Christ, who gives us strength.
President Mnangagwa also called on the nation to continue defining and controlling the country's destiny. Various church leaders had words of encouragement and prayed for the country to receive rains and prosper on the economic front.
Let us pray as we remember that God has helped us to build the nation with our own resources, new roads, new clinics, new dams, new schools, and all forms of emerging infrastructure.
In the face of all these challenges, let our unity be the beacon of resilience. drawing inspiration from Philip Yangajita President 4:13. And here I can do all things through Christ who gives me the strength.
Tinokutendai Mwari pazuva ranhasi matisvitsa munzvimbo ino kuti tizoisa munamato wokukumbirira mukuru wedu nevakakomba vese mukati menzvimbo ino wamakagadza kuti vagotonga nyika ino zvakaitwa nerudo rwenyu. Hakuna anogara asina kugadzwa naMwari. Tiri kukumbira mweya wetsitsi, tinokumbira mweya werudo, tinokumbira mweya wokubatana.
Tauya pano baba zuva ranhasi kuzokumbirira nyika yedu yeZimbabwe kuti mutitungamirire, mutipe mvura yakawanda, mvura inotiringanirana tigokwanisa kurima.
Defense Minister Honorable Opamu Chinguri Kashiri, who is also the ZANU-PF National Chairperson, applauded President Mnangagwa for embracing the National Day of Prayer.
Ndinoda kuti Your Excellency, wisdom yenyu yekukwanisa kuziva kuti makabva kuna Mwari watungamiri nekuzvininipisa, Your Excellency, kuziva kuti mega hamuzvigoni, munoda kushanda pamwe nevanhu, kuziva filosofi yenyu yekuti nyika inotongwa nevene wayo ichizonamatirwa zvakare nevene wayo. Paungana vanhu kudai zuva renhasi, naiye Mwari utori pano.
On various platforms, President Mnangagwa has continued to reiterate that Zimbabweans have freedom of worship. Josephine Mugio, ZBC News, Harare.
Meanwhile, the President and First Secretary of the ruling ZANU-PF party, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa, has thanked the Politburo members for their excellent work done. President Mnangagwa made the remarks at the 373rd Politburo meeting held in Harare.
As curtains are fast closing for the year 2023, the last Politburo meeting began with the heavens opening up after a long dry spell. The President and the First Secretary of ZANU-PF, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa, officially opened the 373rd ordinary session of the Politburo, underscoring the supremacy of the party over government, as seen in the growth of the economy and the workload of departmental heads of the party.
The developmental and the growth milestones we are realizing across all sectors of the economy attest to the sound policies of our party and government, as well as the resilience and the hard, honest work ethic of the people of our great motherland, Zimbabwe.
The party had something to beat its chest all about following the recent by-election victories, and the president said those areas should be the development pressure points, said the First Secretary of the party.
Bridge South, Bulawayo South, Cowdrey Park, Lupane East and Nketa, as well as Mavuku Tafara, must see ZANU-PF's presence in these constituencies having a positive impact on the delivery of quality services. I urge all structures to ensure that the party is visible even where there are no by-elections. We don't need to have by-elections for us to be visible in an area.
Also, Zimbabwe's Fumvuza Intwasa program is getting regional and international recognition.
Our Fumvuza Intwasa agriculture model is gaining regional, continental and global acclaim. Similarly, the ongoing infrastructure development model through our own local resources provides a useful case study for others to emulate towards accelerated development in our SADC region and on the continent.
The party's First Secretary spoke on the success of the engagement and re-engagement exercise the military gratis equipment given to Zimbabwe by the People's Republic of China. He also spoke of the spin-offs from his attendances of the South Africa Summit, the Kus Ideas Festivals in Gaborone, Botswana, and his visits to Botswana and Mozambique. He spoke about the cost benefits of using the railway line to cut goods from the coast to Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Botswana.
We also need to attend to our railway line and introduce travel by train. And it's cheaper for our people. Even also, currently, for the last 26 years, according to Mozambican side, traffic from Zimbabwe and Zambia was going to Beira by roads. This causes more damage on our highways. Mozambique was saying to us, my dear brother, we have now upgraded our side, so you don't need to transport cargo on the highway, on the roads. It's expensive and it damages roads. So when the cargo comes to Mtare, change it from your lorries to the train. Unless you also upgrade your railway this side. So it makes transport costs cheaper for bringing our goods from outside, our imports from Beira into Zimbabwe, and our exports from Zimbabwe to the outside world through Beira, because now, after 26 years, this has now been refurbished and it's functional.
The Politburo comes in the backdrop of the passing on of the national hero, Professor Ngwabi Bebe, and the ongoing genocide in Palestine, and Zimbabwe calls for the immediate ceasefire in that part of the world. It was also agreed that the First Lady, Dr. Amai Auxilia Mnangagwa, will give the Politburo a memorable Christmas party. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News, Harare.
Government is optimistic that it will make significant progress to implement an agreement to allow the free movement of citizens between Zimbabwe and Botswana by early next year.
An agreement in principle between President Emmerson Mnangagwa and his Botswana counterpart, President Mokgweetsi Masisi, is expected to culminate in the free passage of citizens at least during next year. Updating the nation on this development, Information Publicity and Broadcasting Services Minister Dr. Jenfen Muskwere noted that given the political will already displayed by the two heads of state, implementation is imminent.
His Excellency President Masisi and His Excellency President Idi Mnangagwa have already agreed in principle in terms of policy direction, which clearly shows that there is political will for the two states to start utilizing national identity documents, which also then supports trade and the free movement of our respective people. So in terms of the implementation modality, we expect that given the reality that there is political will and that the two heads of states have already agreed in principle to expedite the implementation in terms of use of IDs within the immigration parameters, that perhaps within the first quarter of next year we expect to have achieved significant progress, because the Minister of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage has already been mandated to ensure that we expedite this matter, which will also enhance trade, which is also part of the SADC integration plan. But at the same time, like I've already indicated, that we are one people because we are all Africans. These were colonial borders created during the scramble for Africa, and in particular during the Berlin Conference. So we expect that in the first quarter of the year 2024, we have achieved so much progress, which will entail that people from Botswana and Zimbabwe will now have free movement between the respective two countries by utilizing national identity documents.
If successfully implemented, this will be the second time Botswana is opening its borders to free movement after its first agreement with Namibia. The decision to allow free movement between Zimbabwe and Botswana is expected to feed into the intra-Africa trade drive and also allow for enhanced regional integration to address challenges facing the continent. Theophilus Chuma, ZBC News, Harare.
More than 100 elephants have succumbed to drought as the water situation continues to deteriorate in the country's biggest game reserve, Hwange National Park.
Temperatures continue to soar and Hwange sometimes records more than 40 degrees Celsius. The situation is worse for wildlife, with elephants having become one of the most affected. According to the Zimbabwe National Parks and Wildlife Management Authority, ZIMPARKS, more than 100 elephants have died due to the drought.
We have been recording high temperatures of up to 43 degrees over the last 2-3 months. And if you look at the mortalities that we've recorded, I think to date we've recorded more than 100, about 112, 113 elephants. And most of the animals which are affected are the old, the young, and the sick, because those animals can't move long distances in search of food, in search of water, and they're affected. So these are the issues that we have been talking about, issues of climate change. We've been inconsistently receiving little rainfall. Look, we are almost in mid-December. We are yet to receive substantial rains. So these are the challenges that we are having. We are doing everything in our powers to make sure that we provide water to our animals.
Besides Jumbos, whose population has already far exceeded Hwange National Park's carrying capacity, other species are also affected. A fortnight ago, 18 buffaloes were found trapped in the mud as they scrounged for water. During the dry season, the national park is run 100% on borehole water, and the situation becomes dire if rains delay falling, as is the case this summer. Mhlomuli Ncube, ZBC News, Hwange.
Karo Mining Holdings is upbeat of producing the first platinum group metals ore for milling within the next 2 years.
Initial indications had placed the first ore mill at Karo Mining Holdings for June next year before uncertain global prices on platinum group metals, PGMs, forced changes to the timelines, according to earlier communication by officials at the parent company Tharisa Group. Even as the platinum group basket is currently weak, the firm is optimistic of implementing its plans by the second quarter of 2025, according to a position presented to the Minister of Mines and Mining Development by Karo Resources during a ministerial tour of his plant this Tuesday.
And there's been a lot of talk on the Karo projects that we are in, but finally things are happening. And one thing I would like to speak loudly, that Dr. Zimba has managed to build a very strong team from local Zimbabweans, local content. I'm happy.
Karo Mining Holdings plans to process 2.5 metric tons of platinum ore annually at its Mondorongezi plant.
The pilot mining has already started. As you've seen, we're actually on the tail end of the pilot mining to make sure that we refine our mining method approach. We're going to be doing open pit mining on the project. So that it's been a very successful exercise, as we've seen. And then obviously the construction is also on the go. You've seen the different areas where the guys are working through on the civils.
The country hosts the second largest platinum deposits after South Africa. Government is prioritizing capital projects in the mining sector as one of the key anchors to support the country's economic growth. Theophilus Chuma, ZBC News, Harare.
Meanwhile, political analysts have condemned the United States of America's shenanigans in the Israel-Palestine conflict, which has been described by other progressive nations as genocides of huge proportions.
The Israel-Palestine conflict continues to claim lives, and progressive nations have called out the United States of America to stay away from the conflict and desist from being flamestokers. Political analyst Mr. Gibson Nyikadzino said the United States of America is proving its greediness in the conflict, further claiming that it is making billions of dollars out of the crisis.
What we are seeing in the Middle East, the presence of the United States, it's a continuity of its policy of forever wars. And it's also a continuity of its war against terror while aiding Israel, because they have categorized Hamas as a terrorist organization. but generally this is a detriment for the region itself.
Another political analyst, Mr. Takudzwa Gambiza, said the big brother mentality being exhibited by the US is regrettable, considering they claim to be champions of democracy, yet they cannot protect civilians in the Israel-Palestine conflict.
They claim to be a democracy, and yet they are the ones who are at the forefront to sponsor the wanton murder and killings of innocent civilians in Gaza by Israel. They are the ones that are sponsoring the weaponry that is being used by Gaza to kill children, to kill women. Now it's on record that over 7,000 children have been killed by Israeli airstrikes from the sophisticated weaponry that has been sponsored by the Americans.
The United States of America has been accused of using the conflict as a testing ground for its military prowess at the expense of civilian lives. Bruce Chawanda, ZBC News, Harare.
In a related story, the United Nations has demanded an immediate humanitarian ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war after more than three-quarters of the 193-member General Assembly backed the move, which had been vetoed by the United States in the Security Council last week.
The resolution was adopted to a round of applause with 153 votes in favor, including Zimbabwe. 23 countries abstained from the vote, while the United States voted against the resolution, along with Israel and 8 other countries. Palestinian UN envoy Riyad Mansour, citing large pro-Palestinian protests around the world, said the U.S. could not continue to ignore this massive power, describing the General Assembly vote as a culmination of public sentiment. Israel has bombarded Gaza from the air, imposed the siege, and launched a ground offensive in retaliation for an October 7 attack by Hamas that Israel says killed 1,200 people and saw 240 others being taken hostage. The Gaza Health Ministry says more than 18,000 Palestinians have been killed, including over 7,000 children and nearly 50,000 wounded. General Assembly resolutions are not binding but carry political weight, reflecting a global view on the war. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is on record calling for a humanitarian ceasefire, and last week made a rare move to warn the Security Council of the global threat posed by the war.
Well, remember, these and more stories are available on our website. It is www.zbcnews.co.zw.
Or you could visit us on our social media platforms, that is at ZBC News Online.
Still to come in this bulletin. In business, government urges youths to repay loans accessed through Empower Bank.
And in sport, rain came to the Chevrons' rescue, forcing a washout in the first one-day international against Ireland after they had been reduced to 121 for 6.
The main news takes a break. We'll be back shortly with this and more in detail.
Nana Rhoda, will you please tell us the story of how you met Papa? Since it's Christmas, I will give it to you as a Christmas gift. Aww. Falling in the pool was the time that I realized I fell in love.
This is the right choice, Zimbabwe.
The meaning of life is not to simply exist, but to move ahead. To rise up and achieve. To conquer. Introducing Kung Fu Energy Drink, your push for the next conquest. Kung Fu Energy Drink. Master the power.
In the warm embrace of my nurturing mother, I was introduced to her cherished choice of beverage. Through every joy and challenge, it became our go-to. Now that I can make my own choices, I choose to pass on that love to the next generation. I love you, Mom.
This is the right choice, Zimbabwe.
Levels Production. Hello? Wadi? Wada Gupi? Uripi? Inyanga? Uripi? Karipa? Oh, une boys. Uriku Victoria Falls. Ugre Zimbabwe. Chinoi Girls. Macho Force. Itori Zimbabwe. Muzimbabwe. Irikunaka. Itori Zimbabwe.
This message is brought to you by the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority, Zimbo. Every journey leads you home. Uripi, Ungapi.
Welcome back. Government has unveiled its first diplomatic training facility in Harare, which is set to spearhead training in foreign policy and diplomacy.
A project mooted over 3 decades ago, the completion of the Zimbabwe Foreign Service Institute has highlighted the Second Republic's commitment towards infrastructure development. According to government, the diplomatic facility is a pivotal bridge for diplomatic training for locals, while also enhancing service delivery in sync with the national vision to attain an upper middle income society by 2030.
The training which will be given, we enable that the graduates or the products of this institute, when they go out there, they will represent the country, they will represent the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, represent the government of Zimbabwe with a service which is in sync with the upper middle income economy.
Zimbabwe joins a league of developed nations who have similar projects, including China, Saudi Arabia, and the United States of America. Essentially, the facility will be a critical pedestal to foster foreign relations.
There is no scope for doubt that this institute will impart our diplomats with the necessary skills, knowledge, and the training they need to excel in their respective roles and to contribute towards building a better world for all.
The initiative has since received a massive support from Saudi Arabia after a $100,000 United States grant to support operations. Plans are also afoot to merge the facility with other key institutions, both within and beyond the country's borders.
We now cross over to our Montrose studios, where we join Dora Ncube to give us more news from that end. It's a very good evening to you, Dora.
Thank you so much, Joyce and Zain, and of course the rest of the team at Pukazela. A lovely evening to you and to our viewers as well. We continue with the main news from our Montrose News Desk. A Gweru-based construction firm has set up an asphalt-making plant in a major milestone set to propel government's road rehabilitation drive.
The 500,000 United States dollar plant is set to produce an average of 100 tons of asphalt per day and is the latest technology in surfacing roads, which is fast replacing tarmac due to its durability. The firm expressed readiness to supply the southern part of the country with the commodity in fulfillment of the Second Republic's nyika inowanikwa nevene vayo ilizwe lakiwa ngavanikazi valo mantra.
It is a new technology which is now a requirement for any urban tars to be surfaced. So the idea is to make sure that you also come up with the new method of surfacing roads. So it's something which has inspired me, and even it has also created employment.
Government says it will continue to support local businesses which are contributing to the country's gross domestic product.
Indeed, the Second Republic has reposed confidence in local players, including the diaspora, in the national development matrix supported by foreign direct investment. We have witnessed world-class workmanship on several flagship projects, among them Harare Masvingo, Bite Bridge Road and Mbudzi Roundabout and Interchange Project. I am glad Drolink, among other local entities, has seized the opportunity and is contributing immensely to job creation, technology transfer, skills and development.
Meanwhile, some top government officials have toured Jinan Enterprise, also based in Gweru, where they witnessed various strides being made in expanding ferrochrome production at the firm. Tafara Chikumira, ZBC News, Gweru.
The lives of over 50 children at Cape Kano Children's Home in Kwanda's Makwe village are under threat after invasion of the area by illegal gold pawners. We get more from Providence Maranelli.
While in many cases communities complain of people coming from far places to destroy their infrastructure in search of gold, villagers in Makwe have turned into the proverbial hen eating its own eggs after the mad search of the precious metal has taken them into Cape Kano Children's Home. The illegal gold pawners have already inflicted considerable damage to the institution and cut the road that links Bulawayo to Lushongwe and Makwe, threatening the lives of the vulnerable children at the safe haven. Compressors, jackhammers, generators and other machinery are already at the institution, with the villagers unperturbed by the impact on the environment and infrastructure.
Singakepa lapha singaqeda ukepa siyagqibela ngoba singayirukepa sokubuya amaphocha avela kwezindawo agepa umgwaqo wethu la.
Abona isikomo lesilapha ade sikhona bekuletende ngapana yikho lapho hlokaqala khona ukugejwa kulabantu ade belinda kodwa yibo abayenze ukuthi abantu beze begebhe.
Okade sesibona besukile lathi sesithi sigebhe nxa singathola okudla.
Imota ezivela koBulawayo kuthiwe silungise umgwaqo omutsha ngangangale.
Asihlali lapha phela. Thatha lokho esikuthathayo siyaphuma umozungu wethu imakwe yithi esivumele uthobela.
The brazen and irresponsible behavior has the blessing of the community leadership.
Abaqalisileyo ukugebha abantu abangasibo banikazi besigaba. So sasesithi ngcono imali le lathi abanikazi besigaba sihle sikwanisa ukuncedisa ngayo ezikolo.
With the institution housing more than 50 disadvantaged children, the general consensus is that something ought to be done.
Isepiti abantwana is no longer there. That place was meant to be a safe place for the kids from different backgrounds, but now it's no longer safe. So we are not sure whether we can sustain or be with them in that place for a long time unless a solution comes up.
Environment Management Agency EMA Provincial Manager Mr. Disendlov is a worried man.
As the agents who are going to apply the law, whoever is going to be caught there should be brought before the courts.
Meanwhile, police have been deployed to contain the situation in the area. Illegal miners have become a menace in Matabeleland South Province, threatening key infrastructure such as roads, rails, power lines and dams. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Kwanda.
Health services delivery in Mzarabani has received a major boost through the devolution program following the commissioning of Nyamaritsa Clinic.
The devolution program has continued to impact positively on communities in Mzarabani, with Nyamaritsa Clinic being commissioned this Tuesday. Residents of the area say they used to travel 17 kilometers to access health care at the nearest clinic.
Ndoda kutenda hurumende yababa Mnangagwa nebasa rose ravari kuita kuti isusu tinge tichirapwa pachena. Saka kana tichiona chipatara chedu chichivhurwa so tinoti baba vari kuti pambiri nehutano kumhuri yese.
Vamwe vedu vaisunungukira munzira ndokuda kwokushaiwa transport zvaiva zviri zvakaoma. Saka nhasi uno tinoti matirangarira tine muvaro mukuru.
Mashonaland Central Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Christopher Magomo, highlighted government's commitment towards ensuring access to health services for all in line with the National Development Strategy 1 economic blueprint.
Chipatara ichi chinobatsira vanhu vanosvika 3000. Saka chipatara chihombe chine basa chinozadzisa donzo rababa vedu vaMnangagwa ravanaro shungu dzavo dzokuti maservices angachisvika kumumwe nemumwe. Imagine kuti 3000 aya ava vangu vachibuda mudistrict rino, vamwe vachienda kuMount Darwin, vamwe vachienda kuMazoa, asi nhasi sedistrict seward takukwanisa kuzvimirira kuzvitiro zvinhu zvedu.
Other high-impact projects that have been undertaken through devolution funding in Muzarabani Rural District Council comprise sinking of 16 boreholes, refurbishment of Batanai and Kumbochuma secondary schools, and purchasing of machinery for roads construction.
And that's all from myself, Dora Ngube, and the Montrose News team. We now take you back to the team at Pocketsville for more news. Joyce and Zain, it's back to you.
Thank you, Dora, and our team at Montrose Studios in Bulawayo. A government has been implored to review the budget allocations to various sectors for them to play a key role towards national development.
Reviewing the 2024 national budget, various parliament portfolio committees this Wednesday implored the Minister of Finance and Economic Development to consider reviewing the budget allocations to key government departments.
The total national budget for 2024 of 64.2 trillion Zimbabwean dollars. So the Ministry of Environment, Climate and Wildlife getting 135.5 billion, translating to 0.21%. Mrs. Speaker, say in terms of the budgetary allocations, there was an ideal budget request of 540.3 billion, and the final allocation, the 135.5 billion, representing a negative variance of -75%.
The Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Public Accounts highlighted the need for it to be self-financed to cover the gap of hiring the private sector.
The committee noted that the capital expenditure on digitalization has been totally excluded. And we are appealing to the minister to allocate more funds there so that the digitalization program can kickstart this coming year.
The sugar tax also came under the spotlight with recommendations to align it to regional trends.
The committee notes that while the sugar levy is commendable for health reasons, there are, however, potential negative consequences to business and consumers of having higher prices, which will burden low-income earners who rely on these beverages. Maintaining the current budget proposal may incentivize the importation of smuggled or grey market products from neighboring countries in the southern region. This will place an additional pressure on our foreign currency reserves as operators bypass legal importation and thus failing to contribute to the fiscus.
Tobacco farmers have also been implored to plant more eucalyptus trees to conserve the soil and woodlots.
There's a consistent reduction in the funding of the ministry. It is crucial to recognize that the growth of our industry sector has backward and forward linkages with our primary sector, particularly agriculture. By supporting this sector, we can create more employment opportunities, not only in agriculture, but also in the manufacturing sector, thereby empowering and generating decent jobs for our citizens.
Parliamentarians also debated how the country will benefit from hosting the SADC Summit in 2024, among several other events on the cards. Memory Chamisa, ZBC News, Harare.
Masvingo residents have applauded government for ensuring improved service delivery through the devolution program and Belarus facility after the commissioning of capital equipment for service delivery.
Funds released by central government to local authorities through various programs, including devolution, continue to impact positively on communities, with Masvingo residents being the latest to benefit after the local authority received fire tenders among other equipment. Residents are looking forward to improved service delivery.
Tinotenda baba Mnangagwa nemadevolution funds avanopa kuma councils
aita kuti titengerwe motikari dzekutakura marara kuti nzvimbo yedu igare yakachena.
Mota dzedu idzi dziripo pakubetsera ipapo pakudzima moto.
Kuna ma-accidents achaonekwa vanhu vachitsva kusvika pama-ashes kana musha inotsva kusvikira pama-levels asina wamira moto. Asi saka chinakisira pa-service delivery kuti ichi ndechemacore uye mukasisa motokari dzacho imota dzichagara.
Government remains committed to improving service delivery, with local authorities being urged to prioritize projects that improve people's lives.
The purchase of these capital equipment for disaster management, roads maintenance and refuse collection is a direct response to the calls from stakeholders and clients for improved service delivery.
The local authority is grateful to government for initiating various facilities which are enhancing service delivery in Masvingo town.
We have 3 fire tenders that were bought through the Zimbabwe-Belarus facility. We also have 2 tipper trucks that were bought using funds from Zinara and also from the devolution. We also have an iron roller, a refuse truck, and 5 utility vehicles that were also bought using council internal funds. And this fleet will go a long way in addressing the service delivery challenges that we were experiencing in the city and bring the much needed convenience to the citizens of Masvingo.
The devolution program has seen Masvingo City Council embarking on various projects, including construction of Rijeko Secondary School, Runyararo Northwest Medical Center, and upgrading of Mucheke Trunk Sewer Line, among others. Messi Bof, ZBC News, Masvingo.
We now go further afield beyond our country's borders, where the Democratic Republic of Congo government says preparations are on course ahead of the December 20 elections.
63 years of independence, the DRC will on the 20th of December hold its elections after the peaceful transition of power between former President Joseph Kabila and incumbent President Dr. Felix Tshisekedi in 2019. In an interview with ZBC News, DRC Information and Communication Minister Mr. Patrick Muyaya said despite some challenges in preparing for the polls, the country will be ready to hold elections on the 20th of this month.
We've been preparing this election for months, for years now, and we strongly believe that we will be ready on December 20. Despite the fact that there is very, very huge challenges because the country is very huge. First of all, we have a big problem of infrastructure, and but the Electoral Commission is doing its best since for months now, and the government, my finance colleague was here, provide everything to make sure they will be on time. So we, as political party, as candidates, we are watching Electoral Commission because it's in their competence to organize elections, and we know they are taking care of that.
On Tuesday, the streets of Mbuji-Mayi, located in the Kasai Oriental province, lined up with citizens excited and eager to hear the message from President Tshisekedi.
We are very happy because our president is coming here today. We want to hear about him because we want to have better schools. Our husband got jobs and to have a better future for tomorrow. Actually, everyone is excited to receive the president here in his homeland in Kasai Oriental in Mbuji-Mayi town. Very happy because our president is coming, so we all came here to welcome him.
President Tshisekedi promised to confront the crisis in the eastern region while pushing for socio-economic growth of the country.
It is time for the population to open their eyes. Our country is heavily fought. Every Congolese must stand up to defend the homeland. The enemies of our country are found among the presidential candidates. They are here. Be careful.
Over 20 candidates will battle it out in the presidential poll, with 500 National Assembly seats up for grabs across the 26 provinces of the DRC. Olin Andori, ZBC News, Mbuji-Mayi.
The main news takes a break. We'll be back shortly with business news.
Mama. Today I'm about to embark on the next chapter of my life. You've been by my side every step of the way. Through the late nights and endless studying, you always believed in my dreams. And as I start my new journey and my new career, I want to thank you for helping me make the right choice. To the women who never gave up on me, thank you, Mom. Merry Christmas.
This is the right choice, Zimbabwe.
I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. I don't care if they know the truth about how much I care for you. I don't care, I don't care, I don't care.
Show some love to your fabrics with Boom Bubble Plus washing powder with powerful dirt-fighting enzymes and special color protection, whiter whites and brighter colors. Boom, and the dirt is gone.
This is the right choice, Zimbabwe.
Welcome back. We jump straight into business, where the government has encouraged youths to repay loans accessed through Empower Bank to enable the institution to continue sustaining project ideas for upcoming young entrepreneurs.
Several youths pitched their business plans at the Empower Bank 2023 Youth Business Pitch Competition finale held in Harare Tuesday evening. The country's rich youth entrepreneurship prowess was on display as the event sought to identify the best project to finance among the contestants.
Our project tackles organic waste management to create cheaper and more nutritious livestock feed. Plant-based animal feed is becoming more expensive due to increasing cost of farming inputs, due to economic challenges, and of course, climate change. The Russian-Ukraine war was proof that our dependency on wasting products and importing fertilizers becomes a strain on our farming industry.
My company is coming from an engineering perspective. Imagine, for example, in communal areas where we have in A1, small-scale farmer, who doesn't have access to energy, right? They are still using firewood.
The guest of honor at the competition finale, Youth Empowerment, Development and Vocational Training Minister Honorable Tinotenda Machakaire, told the audience that government is pursuing a new thrust to empower youths and grow their ideas into big businesses.
I wish to assure the nation of my ministry's and indeed the Second Republic's commitment to youth empowerment is set out in National Development Strategy 1. To that effect, we will give priority to the Empower Bank capitalization needs to facilitate youth access to finance through such youth-friendly products as the collateral-free nano loan being launched tonight.
However, Minister Machakaire advised the youths to fully service their loans.
We had the same opportunities to go to the banks and get loans, but we created good names out of repaying our loans. So we must always know that these funds are not our funds. We are given these funds to use them to grow our businesses and repay the bank.
Government established the Empower Bank at the inception of the Second Republic to drive youth empowerment through availing of loans for income-generating projects. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
And that's a look at business news, taking us to a break. We'll be back shortly with sport.
This holiday season at DSTV's got so much great entertainment. You, your family, and your guests will be spoiled for choice.
The treble winners are back.
Shoots and scores. This is outstanding.
Celebrate Zimbabwean cuisine.
This is good now.
It doesn't matter who you're hosting.
We're family, and we can conquer anything.
We've got unbeatable shows for the whole neighborhood to choose from.
They just got better.
We're more than prepared for any assault.
We're actually great. We're really great. I can have my happily ever after.
It's just a lot, all the time.
We are all about giving you entertainment of your choice and options that suit your family. So stay connected to DSTV for the happiest holidays yet. DSTV, it's your moment.
Boom! Boom! Oh, I feel clear. So fresh and so clear. No stain on me. Check my hygiene. There's no dirt in my life.
Boom. Turning your house into a home.
Welcome back. Rain came to the Chevron's rescue, forcing a washout in the first one-day international against Ireland after they had been reduced to 121 for 6.
The weather had the final say in the first ODI at Royal Sports Club as rain came with Zimbabwe on 121 for 6 and never stopped, forcing a washout. Zimbabwe started aggressively after being sent into better with Tinashe Kamunukamwe smashing 28 of just 15 balls. At the moment he lost his wicket, the home side also lost momentum and the innings never really recovered. Kamunukamwe hit 3 fours in the first over he faced and continued his exploits the following over, getting a 4 and a 6 of successive deliveries. That forced Post telling the Irish captain to make the change, and that did the trick as Graham Hume got the wicket of Kamunukamwe, who miscued a pull and was caught at mid-1 for 28. The wicket put the brakes on the scoring rate, with Zimbabwe managing only 16 runs in the next 4 overs, and the pressure told as Innocent Kaiya was soon bounced out, leaving Zimbabwe at 48 for 2. Sikandar Raza did not last either, although Joel Gumbi was holding fort at the other end without really troubling the scorers. Ren Bell came in and departed early, while Clive Madande also failed to do much at the crease. Soon after Madande's wicket, Lightning forced the players off the field, hence a premature end to the contest. The second and third ODIs to be played on Friday and Sunday are also expected to be affected by rain. Lawrence Tusida, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, it seems the rains caused quite the hurdle. But moving into the next report, the Bulawayo Giants Highlanders have given Zambian expatriate Kelvin Kaindu a 3-year contract beginning on the 1st of January 2024, with Bosso fans rallying behind the move.
Better known for his popular cliche, "It shall be well," Kaindu has been given another dance with Highlanders, replacing Portuguese expatriate Baltemar Brito. Kaindu is credited for transforming a mediocre Bosso squad, which had the likes of veteran midfielder Mtulisi Maposa and steely defenders Innocent Mapuranga and Felix Chindungwe. He, however, lost the championship twice on goal difference to Harare Giants Dynamos, who went for a treble. Kaindu sealed a 3-year deal on Tuesday before returning to Zambia. Highlanders spokesperson Nozibelo Maposa confirmed the appointment of Kaindu on a 3-year contract.
We have engaged him on a 3-year long contract, which is supposed to start on the 1st of January 2024 to the 31st of December 2026. Although his contract has yet to begin on the 1st of January, but then both parties have agreed that he can start planning for the season ahead while he is in his native home in Zambia.
According to Maposa, issues surrounding the coach's backroom staff will be announced at the appropriate time, although indications are that club legend Martin Ndlovu will revert to his role of being a conduit for junior development. The fans are fully behind Kaindu's appointment.
Hayi ingadi wakade singabona ukuthi ngaba ngcono ngoba ucoach lo hawo bekhona lo kade hayi usibulele sibi. Ya simnika i second chance futhi sibone ukuthi ngayenza njani kwamanje. Hayi ukuholisa ama players kakhulu. Ama players ehole ethola imali yawo ekudlala wejabulile kakhulu.
Hayi kwenzakala nje ukuthi nxa sidlala vele singadlali siphambili. So la yena lo coach bekhona asange samsola kakhulu, so sesisamelela yena lo sikhona.
During his previous stint with the Highlanders, Kaindu managed to lead Bosso Tumbada Diamonds Cup glory in 2013. Mthokozi Stube, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
A Zimbabwe Women's Super League side, Correctional Queens, have honored their outstanding players for the 2023 season. The club's annual awards event was held at Harare Central Prison this Wednesday.
Correctional Queens Football Club held an awards ceremony, a time to recognize outstanding individuals and also celebrate the team's dedication during the just-ended season. 17-year-old midfielder Nadia Semba was honored as the team's most promising player. Despite her young age, Semba has already shown a great talent and potential, impressing her coaches and teammates with her skill and determination on the field. Veteran midfielder Major Nyomwe was also awarded for being the club's top goal scorer.
My juniors ukaita focus tinechinja ukuda especially ukaloti kuda bora itazve bora zvakawanda wandasiyana nazvo.
Chido Dzingerai's exploits between the sticks were also recognized.
Feeling happy because it's the first time to our club to be recognized such awards.
Florence Simeon was voted the most loyal player, Daisy Shamua the most disciplined player, and Estella Cinder the longest serving player. Anna Shemorombedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
That story capping our sports news. Up next is the weather.
Thank you for joining us. It is time for your evening weather report and forecast. Well, the cloud system that is currently affecting the country resulted in widespread thunderstorm activity right across the whole country. Notable falls were at Nyanga, which received 37 millimeters as at 8 o'clock this morning. Meanwhile, there are many other areas which had falls of less than 20 millimeters. Now turning to the satellite images received this afternoon, they showed that cloud system as it covered most parts of the country. Tomorrow, we do not expect much change, where areas to the north that include Matabeleland North, the Midlands, all Mashonaland provinces including Harare and Manicaland should have scattered afternoon or evening thunderstorms, while Matabeleland South, Masvingo, should have some isolated afternoon showers. Now for the temperatures in detail, the capital city Harare expect a minimum of 17 and a maximum of 29 degrees Celsius. 18 and 31 is expected at Bulawayo. Gweru 16 and 30, 17 and 30 is expected at Mutare. 19 and 32 for Kwekwe, 15 and 32 for Kadoma. Masvingo starting off 17, 33 maximum, 18 and 33 for Chinoi. Lupane 21 and 33 degrees Celsius, Bindura 16 and 32, Marondera 15 and 29, Gwanda 19 and 34 degrees Celsius, Victoria Falls a minimum of 20 and a maximum of 32, Kariba 24 and 35, Great Zimbabwe 17 and 33, Nyanga 12 and 27, Matopos 18 and 33, 16 and 28 at Chimani. Then on Friday, that is in the outlook period, we expect all Mashonaland provinces, Harare, Manicaland, we have some scattered afternoon or evening thunderstorms, while Matabeleland North, Bulawayo Metropolitan, Matabeleland South and Masvingo should have isolated afternoon thunder showers. Well, that does it in tonight's edition of the Weather Report and Forecast. My name is Benjamin Kwaramba. It's back to the main desk.
Well, that concludes tonight's bulletin. From all of us here, it's good night.
Good night.